F&I managers out there, I've been doing this a long time, and I want to share something with you that I've updated over the last probably 15 years, and it's called the budget close. There was a time when a customer would say, I'm on a budget, or they'd say, I can't afford that, or the payment's too high, and I would say, oh, I get it, you're on a budget. I'm on a budget too. And then I would go into some dissertation as to how I feel, a little bit of empathy for you. But things have changed. Times have changed. And over the last 15, maybe 20 years, I've changed that budget close to when a customer says I'm on a budget, or I can't afford that, or that payment's too high, I look at them and say, I get it. You don't want to spend the extra money. And the reason I say that is because it's very difficult for a person to be on a budget today, especially in the fluctuation of our economy. I mean, who is really on a budget? And if they're really on a budget, they're probably driving a smart car, which isn't that smart. I hate to talk about smart cars that way. They're not driving a $400, $500, $600, $700 payment if they're on a budget. They're driving a $200, $250 payment if they're on a budget. And they might be fresh out of college and maybe they're on a budget, but you have to relate to that. And you gather information during your introduction that will determine that. How often have you asked a customer during your introduction if the bank would require additional money down, or if I could get you more favorable terms with money down, would you be able to handle that? And they say, no, I don't have any more money to put down. Or how many times does the customer come into your, if you're going to try to sell me something, don't bother them, over budget now. The fact of the matter is, people are not on strict budgets. What they're on, in my opinion, is what I call a mental budget. Now, I know the word mental doesn't sound right, but it's in your head. Your budget's in your head. Let me stress this. Your budget's in the bank. And what I mean by that is people have enough money in their bank account to pay their car payment, to pay insurance on their car, to put gas, to put food on their table. That's what most people do, and that's what I mean by a mental budget. And that same person who budgets enough money, puts the money in the bank to pay all their bills, including their car payment, still runs around spending money. And you got to determine how much they spend on a daily basis, because their car payment is a daily basis as well. And you turn their budget into a daily budget. And that's how you close many people when they say the payments are too high, I can't afford that, are on a budget. So let me get into a little bit more detail with you. We have a product prep, a 4-step objection process, which all starts with an acknowledgement statement, where you simply state to the customer, I get it, I understand, I see your point. And then you follow it up with a side and ask. You basically side with them and you ask to proceed. And then you follow that up with create and satisfy a need. And then once you get some sort of an agreement with the customer, you simply ask them to buy. So here's how it works. When you give a presentation and someone says to you, I'm on a budget, I would turn to them and say, I get it, but I think you really don't want to spend the extra money, because it's very difficult for people to follow a budget today. Wouldn't you agree? Especially with the fluctuation in our economy. And most customers might say, well, no, you don't understand. I'm really on a budget. And this is when you follow up with, okay, I get it. You're on a budget, but I look at it like a mental budget. In other words, you have enough money in the bank to pay all your bills, but you still run around spending money every day, right? And the customer will say, well, yeah, of course. So let's take a look at what you budgeted per day for a car payment. And you look right at them and say, you're comfortable with the $600 car payment, right? Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it is a little bit more than I wanted to spend, regardless of what they say. Take the 600 divided by the average days in a month, 30. Write this stuff down. Use a calculator. Have the customer use a calculator. How much is that? 600 divided by 30. That's $20 a day. That's how much you budgeted per day. And you just make sure that's in the bank, because people budget monthly, they spend daily. And on average, how much do you spend a day? I spend between $5 and $10 a day. How much on average do you spend? And the customer says, about the same. So I would assume that if you spend $5 to $10 a day, $1, $2, or $3 a day is really not going to change your lifestyle in any shape or manner, correct? And the customer goes, that's right. Well, the product you're somewhat interested in are only an additional $2 a day. The customer looks at it and says, well, I can afford $22 a day. Well, of course you can. The whole premise behind that rebuttal, or that handling the customer's concern, is you got to make them realize that they budget monthly, spend daily. And you can talk in terms of mental budget or money in the bank, however you want to do it. But the first thing you need to do is tell the customer, I get it, I understand, but I think it's a matter of really not wanting to spend the extra money, okay? You say you can't afford it, but there may be another way of looking at it. Let me share something with you. And then you go into the close I just shared with you. And then you say to them, the fixed or variable payment. That's another way to handle the budget. If you're truly on a budget, in other words, if you just say to the customer, they say, I'm on a budget, and you say, you just don't want to spend the extra money. They say, no, you don't understand. I like the product. I'm on a budget. I can't afford it anymore. I just can't. Then you look at them without saying it, but getting around around it. If you can't afford additional payments, how are you going to afford if something to break down? So you look at them and say, look, folks, I get it. If you're truly on a budget, then listen to what I have to say. Because when you buy a car, there's essential spending and there's non-essential spending. And you've budgeted for the essential spending. You've budgeted for your car payment. You've budgeted for gas, maintenance, and insurance. What you have a budget for is non-essential spending. Like any mechanical electrical breakdown may occur after the factory warranty's gone. If you have to replace a tire and a rim because of a road hazard that's in your way and you can't help but hit it, or the tire hit it. If you were to repair a ding or dent, because after all, any dings or dents in that vehicle, soiled paint, or soiled interior is going to deteriorate the value of the car when you go to trade it in. You're going to want to repair those things. And if you were to have a total loss, who's going to pay that difference? Because you're putting no money down and we're taking money from your previous loan and rolling it in there, plus the sales tax. That deficiency balance between what your vehicle's, the insurance company says it is worth and what you owe, you're going to have to pay that. You have no budget for that. Here's a budget for that. We call this a fixed payment. If you enroll in these programs at the $50, $60, $70, $80 more a month, you be assured that's all you're going to spend. You'll never spend any more. And they look at you and go, are you out of your freaking mind? $80 a month? That's ridiculous. Break it down. $80 a day. $80 divided by 30, just like the $600 divided by 30. And watch the customer's reaction. Look right at them and say, $2.50 a day going to change your lifestyle in a way, shape, or manner. But certainly having to pay. I'll write a check. I'll use a credit card for $500, $600, $700, $800 wouldn't it? That's why I'm sharing this information with you. Because you're on a budget. And this is the way to protect your budget. If you're truly on a budget, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, then you can't leave my office without accepting some of these options. That's just my opinion. Okay? That's how I would handle the budget close. Now, think about what I said. Old school, when I first got into the business, when I was selling cars, I was taught to say this when a customer said I'm on a budget. Whether we're selling cars or an F&I. Oh, those payments are too high. Oh, I'm on a budget. I was supposed to agree with them. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm on a budget too. Just like you. I was supposed to be just like you. Well, I am just like them, but I'm going to give you more common sense, okay? Because that's an old school rebuttal, and simply people look at you when you do that rebuttal like, yeah, okay, you're just like me. Yeah, nice suit. Nice watch, nice building. I saw the car you drove in, and you're just like me. I know the neighborhood you live in. Oh, come on, man. Please. You're not like me. So throw that old school, I'm on a budget out, and the new school approach. Actually, I've been using this new school approach for the last 20 years. When a customer says, I want to remind you, when a customer says I'm on a budget, you simply look at them and say, I get it, but I think it's really a matter of not wanting to spend the extra money, okay? And the customer says, well, yeah, I don't want to spend the extra money. You got them. If the customer says I'm on a budget, you still got them. You just got to answer with a reduce it to ridiculous close or reduce it to reality by showing them or proving to them that they budget monthly, they spend daily, and show them on paper. And that's how you get through the I'm on a budget, okay? If you like what you heard, podprep.com. Until next time, go get them.